let's go ahead and dive in. We're so excited to bring you together today. My name is Ellie Barmacel, and I am the CEO of Further Faster. We're a product market fit studio based in Chicago, working with pre-seed through Series A companies across the globe to help them find product market fit. Our work is centered on helping founders accelerate their rate of iteration and getting to traction. And having sat in the founder seat myself, we know how much firsthand how much stress and pressure comes with building a venture. It takes a special type of person to have both the vision, energy, and endurance to do this work. And we know that there's data that shows that mental health and mental fitness is a challenge that our startup community needs to focus on. So Further Faster asked ourselves, what are ways that we can support our startup community in not only having these conversations, but having the tools to explore how we nurture our mental wellness on this journey. So I'm thrilled to be joined today by Naveed Lalani, who's an incredible entrepreneur doing some work at the forefront of this movement, as well as Katy Hanlon, who is a wellness expert who's going to guide us through an experience in the back half of our event. But we're going to start today's time with Naveed, having a bit of a conversation and learning about the work that he's doing because it's so important. I'm wildly inspired by this man and the work that he's doing. So Naveed, I'm excited to introduce you to this group. Maybe there are some familiar friends, maybe there are new friends, but welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, and thanks for the kind words.
So let's start with a little bit of context. You are the CEO of a startup called Pioneer Mind. You and I had the chance to connect last year about this work, and I was just so inspired by it that I've been following it closely and, adding you on Twitter and LinkedIn every chance I get. But I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about Pioneer Mind, what it is that you're doing with your company, and what brought you to that work.
Sure. Pioneer Mind is a mental fitness, mental wellness platform for startup founders specifically. We connect founders with mental performance coaches that help them build resilience and help them achieve peak performance consistently. We can also connect founders with therapists and nutritionists, sleep coaches, business mentors, other resources they need to really get holistic and integrated care. We're an early stage startup. We launched our first cohort in April. We're combining human intervention with automated AI-driven intervention. So we track sleep, activity, HRV, a lot of the other variables we'll be tracking in the future as well, to really show you how your mental functioning is affecting your business bottom line. And also to kind of, by watching your data, by having our AI review your session notes, recommending also automated intervention. So if you see that your sleep is slipping, we can tell you, well, this is how it's going to affect your business performance based on past data. And so we're really showing you tangible reasons why you should take care of your mental health. Obviously, your personal well-being being number one, but I think a lot of founders are driven by business success and by contribution to their startup. So we're really leaning in on that and communicating to founders in the way that they will resonate with them. And actually, on that note, that is what my inspiration was with Pioneer Mind. I'm a founder myself. My past companies have been backed by Reid Hoffman, Tim Ferriss, Naval Ravikant, a bunch of other investors that are at the top of their game. And I went through my own mental health journey after exiting my first startup. And it took me about 5 years of navigating that to get the proper support, get the proper care. And after I did, I was able to also help a lot of my other founder friends do the same. I've also worked with the Teal Fellowship, where I was a judge and a mentor for the first 3 years, mentoring young entrepreneurs. I was an LP, and I am an LP in Techstars. I've also done a lot of work with entrepreneurs, over 1,000 entrepreneurs to my religious community. And so I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs up close, and I've consistently seen how they struggle. And my belief is that the reason that most startups fail is because founders give up. It requires almost superhero resilience to be a founder and to be able to push through the roller coaster ride. It's really, really hard. So founders don't just need, normal resilience. They need, like, as I mentioned, superhero resilience. And so that's what I want to build for them. And the best time to get support and to build this kind of, iron armor is when you're feeling good, is to do it proactively. When you're depressed or you're down, like I've been in the past, you're just struggling to get out of bed or shower. So it's not the right time to build resilience. But when you're in the green, it's actually the right time to proactively work on your mental health. And so I've helped a lot of founders do that. And I ended up getting approached by Silicon Valley Bank last June. And they had a similar kind of analysis where they said, hey, we see that a lot of our customers, which are startup founders that are VC backed, struggle with their mental health, and there's not really a solution for them. Do you want to partner up and work on this idea? And so we did. They provided me initial funding, gave me all their IP, and I started Pioneer Mind. That was in June of last year. And now we have a full team. We have all of our providers onboarded. We have our alpha cohort, as I mentioned, building a lot of technology, building a lot of science-based human interventions. So that's the kind of the long story, 5-minute version of Pioneer Mind, what we do and why it exists.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Naveed. And I think the work is so important, and hearing that other people in Silicon Valley recognize that this is a challenge for us to put effort, energy, and resource into gives me a bit of hope and inspiration myself. And I'm curious, given the climate right now, we know that it is not the easiest time for founders, whether we're looking at the venture markets and the challenges to raising capital, or other things that are happening in the ecosystem. I know that for us, we saw firsthand how the situation with Silicon Valley Bank last quarter certainly highlighted where people were already feeling anxious, insecure, uncertain. You have, in addition to all of the work that you're doing building Pioneer Mind, have taken the initiative to start Founder Mental Health Pledge. Can you tell us a little bit more about what the pledge is and why you felt called to action, and where the pledge is going?
Yeah, absolutely. I think call to action is probably the right phrase. As I mentioned, my company is actually, I didn't just bank with SVB, but SVB was on my board of directors, and they funded Pioneer Mind. And SVB was and is a very important partner for me. So you can imagine that I had a level of shock as I was following the news cycle around kind of the collapse of SVB, all the issues there. And data shows that 72% of entrepreneurs have a mental health challenge, a history of mental health challenges. So it's already very anxiety, depression, ADHD, complex PTSD, bipolar, OCD, etc. All these things are actually very, very common in entrepreneurs already. And the SVB crisis just made it worse. I saw a tweet on Saturday, the day before the FDIC announced that they would take over all deposits, not just the insured deposits. I saw the tweet that said that somebody had to help their founder friend stop them from, trigger warning, like committing suicide, because they were afraid they couldn't make payroll on Monday. And for every one person that shares that kind of story, there's hundreds that are not sharing. And so I was talking to a friend of mine, an advisor, and a kind of fellow mental health advocate, and passionate about founder mental health. His name is Brad Baum, and we both kind of independently had the idea for creating a pledge that investors can take, that other founders can take, to really treat founder mental health as a business expense. And so we said, you know what, we should go ahead and launch this now, because the timing is right and the founders need the support, and we feel like we can, get a lot of pickup around it. So yeah, we launched the pledge. One of my mentors, Aaron Gerstenberg, He's actually the founder of SVB Capital. He emailed a bunch of prominent investors the same night that I launched the pledge. And Brad Feld replied back, said he'll write a blog post about it. And it just took off. We had, I think in the first day, we had 30 VCs or something sign it. And now we've had over, or maybe in the first few days, sorry. And now we've had over 100 venture capitalists sign the pledge. We've had over 300 startup leaders sign the pledge. I'm about to announce a university system that signed the pledge through the entrepreneurship program. So we'll have more of those. We have ambassadors now in the Middle East and in Canada, as an example, that are going to help us spread the word to different regions of the world. It's been incredible. The pledge aims to destigmatize founder mental health and the mental health of the startup ecosystem, not just for founders. And also, the key component of the pledge is that, as I mentioned, it aims to treat founder mental health as a business expense. So just like accounting, legal, whatever else, investors say they invest in founders or their teams. They don't invest in the idea. Well, the most important asset anybody has is their mind, including the founder, right? So they should be able to spend business money on therapy, on coaching, on group support, etc., on mindfulness, on physical exercise, whatever they want to do. That's the premise of the pledge. It now covers Y Combinator signed it too. It now covers 22,000 portfolio companies whose founders can now seek mental health, mental wellness, mental fitness services as a business expense. Based on that, we're also creating we're right now working on the 2023 Global Founder Mental Health Index report, which is being done in collaboration with Professor Ute Stefan, who's the leading researcher on founder mental health. She works at King's College in London. And so we're working on that. That's going to be released in early August. And then in mid-August, we're going to do the first ever founder mental health conference. We're expecting thousands of founders there and hundreds of investors, et cetera. And it's going to be a kind of a full day about founder mental health. And we're going to talk through the report and the analysis and the findings and what the industry can do to move founder mental health forward in a very actionable way at that conference. We've also released resources.founderpledge.com. We've released stories.founderpledge.com. So there's we're kind of creating a community around this. And it's just been incredible. It's been it's probably the most important thing I've worked on in my life, I think.
That's incredible, Naveed. I think there's something really special when passion, personal experience, and market opportunity all converge. And I'm so grateful that you're in this moment and uniquely qualified to do this work on behalf of our entire community. I know that we are all eager to dive into our wellness experience with Katy, which was one of our commitments to be able to start doing things that are tangible and immediate that hopefully create some space for more mental wellness activities in the ecosystem. And so as we close out our time with you, Naveed, I'm really curious. You've got this great global perspective on what's happening in the ecosystem. There's certainly systems change that is going to take time, but the good news is startup community, because we are hardwired for action, will hopefully happen faster than perhaps in some other spaces. But between here and there and the broader systems change that we're hoping to see, what are some of the actionable tactical things you'd encourage people on today's event to consider doing and consider implementing?
I would say at the very minimum, create a group of founders that you talk to that are not your co-founders. It doesn't have to cost any money, and try to share about your trials, tribulations. Don't make that group about here's this analytics software I use, right? Don't make it about that. Don't make it about, how much you're crushing it. Talk more about the things that really scare you, your fears, your uncertainties, your doubts. I think it's something that every founder can do. Find 2 or 3 other founders if you can, and just start doing that. On resources.founderpledge.com, we've actually listed all the different companies that are specifically serving startup founders and their mental health, and also employee mental health. We'll continue adding to that list, so you can check that out. And I think the last thought I'll kind of leave people with is, and I think there's a reason that the pledge has really resonated, is that we're not about anti-hustle with the pledge. Okay. My saying, and actually it's the saying of one of my mentors, but she said, "Hey, Naveed, it seems like you're really about hustling responsibly." Right? I think to change the world, which is what founders aim to do, it requires sacrifice, requires grit, requires determination, requires passion. But you can do all those things and watch your mental health. And in fact, it's additive. It's not subtractive or opposite or one or the other. It's actually both, right? So if you watch your mental health, you'll actually be more successful, achieve more, do more for the world. And so that's kind of the message I want to leave people with. And I think for the longest time, the message has been out there. It's like, it's been about, oh, hey, watch your mental health. Like, don't worry so much about your startup, right? That's just not how it works. First of all, it doesn't resonate with founders. Second of all, it's not true, right? If you watch your mental health, as I said, if you watch your mental wellness and and also your physical health, it's going to affect your startup and your vision in a positive way. It's going to make you a better leader. It's going to affect your team. It's going to affect your business. It's going to lead to job creation. It's going to lead to economic prosperity. So again, like for myself at least, I can't imagine, what is the word, ikigai or whatever, right? Like this is my ikigai, So I feel very grateful and I really appreciate everybody kind of taking a few minutes to listen to what we're working on. And yeah, as Elias pointed out on the chat, please check out pioneermind.com, my startup, and also check out founderpledge.com and take the pledge. And we'll keep you updated on all the different initiatives that we're creating to really turn the pledge into action and appreciate all the work you're doing at Further Faster on this topic as well.
Thank you so much for taking the time out, Naveed. If you aren't already following Naveed on LinkedIn and Twitter, I'd definitely encourage you to do so. I also have to shout out, not only did he carve out time from his very busy day to be here, he shared publicly on social media that his family recently welcomed baby number 2. So we all know that creating a startup is like you're birthing a business into the world, but he's also, brought another little human into the world. So for him to carve out this time to be with us feels extra special. Naveed, so grateful for you and for your continued friendship and partnership on this really important work. It takes all of us throughout the ecosystem to elevate the conversation and find ways to meaningfully move the needle forward on this topic. Naveed, if you are around to stay for the wellness experience, you are welcome to stay with us, but also understand if you have to drop. Thank you for putting the links for where we can find you online, and we'll send this out to everyone in our follow-up note after the event. But with that, I am going to introduce our wellness expert who's going to guide us through our remaining time here together this morning or afternoon, depending on what time zone you're sitting in today. But Katy Hanlon has been a friend to Further Faster, who's led our team through a wellness experience. And I was just struck by her authenticity and how clearly she can create the space for us to see why these wellness tools matter and how we can integrate them into our daily lives. I'll let Katy talk more about her work, but we're just so grateful that she's here with us, spreading a bit of her magic with our community today. She's got something special planned for us. So the invitation that I'd extend to all of you, I know that we all have OKRs sitting in the back of our mind, emails that we know we need to respond to, but my invitation to everyone here would be just to put that on a shelf for the remainder of our time together, a shelf where you can see it in your mind's eye and know that you can come back for it later, because Katy is going to guide us through something that I think is quite special. So Katy, without further ado, I'm just going to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Ellie. What a beautiful, warm welcome. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate being here with each and every one of you. Thank you, Naveed, for sharing your journey and your trials, your tribulations, and just your authenticity. I also run a startup company. I guess it's not startup anymore. I developed it post-pandemic or during the pandemic, so I can relate to everything that you were saying. But my name is Katy Hanlon. I'm based here in Chicago. I am a life coach, a yoga teacher, a breathwork facilitator. So in our wellness experience today, you're going to get a smorgasbord. I love that word, smorgasbord of all that stuff together. I'm just taking a look at time. So we have about 35 minutes. But before we go into content, I always like to do a little bit of connection. And I like saying content before connection versus icebreakers, because icebreakers, if you're an introvert like me, when you hear that word, you're like, oh God, I'm not doing that. I'm not participating in an icebreaker. So just a little connection before our content time. So I would like for you to use the chat box for this. And the first question is, tell me your favorite way to move your body. Your favorite way to move your body. Type it into the chat box. Running. I like that too, Mike, although I'm not very fast, but doesn't matter, right? Running, dancing and playing with my nieces and nephews. Stretching my arms around me to stimulate spaciousness. I love that, Samir. Hope I'm saying your name correctly. Okay, good. Thank you. Anyone else? What's your favorite way to move? Lately, I've just been into enjoying the weather here in Chicago. It's actually nice this week. So I love just walking my dog, dancing and walking and running. Yes. And I see someone's in Tulum. So get out on the beach, ride some waves, right? Anthony. Okay, walking and strength training. Okay, that gives a good base. So the second question is, if I were to give you a scale between 1 and 10, 1 being low vibe, 10 being high vibe, again, nothing is right, wrong, good or bad, just a scale. If I were to ask you, how is your emotional state today? Like, where are your emotions on the scale of 1 to 10? Put in the first number that pops into your mind. 6, 7, 3, 7. Beautiful. So as you can see, we all come with a different dislike and like for doing. I think someone's in the waiting room. Let me lift them in. We all come with a different like and dislike of our physical experience, how to move our physical body. And we also come with different emotions each and every day. The third connection before content is, I want you to find your phone. And if you're like, I didn't bring my phone to this class, that's okay. Find your phone and find someone in your text chain that you text frequently, or maybe someone that you don't text frequently, and send them a note of appreciation. Just, I acknowledge you. I see you. I hope you have a beautiful day. It can be as cheesy or as non-cheesy as you want. Just text someone from your phone. And then you can put your phone down. All right. So if you're like, why is she asking me to text someone? The reason why is because this is my spin on it, in order for us to really feel connected in our bodies, to feel connected in our minds, and to stretch our physical, mental, emotional, and relationship fitness. I love, Ellie, how you use that term fitness, like, or the wellness wheel, is we have to get out of our analytical monkey minds and into our bodies. And we have to acknowledge the things that we enjoy. So physical, I asked you a question. What do you like to do physically? Some of you like to dance and stretch and run. Emotionally, you acknowledge where you're at today. You acknowledge, okay, I'm a 5 today. I'm a 7 today. Anthony, because you're in Tulum, you're a 10, and I would probably be a 10 too. And then I asked you to get out of your mind and into the energy of someone else. So we are all energetic beings having this human experience. And far too often, I know this to be true about me, is I can sit there email after email, call after call, and I forget that there's a million people that I love and I care about. And sometimes it takes someone to reach out, send the olive branch. Isn't there a saying? Do the olive branch. Can't think of it right now, but you know what I'm trying to say. And just get out of your own way. So that was our little connection before content. You can put your phone aside. And just as Ellie said, I love that analogy, Ellie, how we all have distractions. We all have things that we need to be doing right now. But can you give yourself just the next 25 to 30 minutes to pause and to be with yourself, to be with this experience, and everything will be there when you are coming back to the space. So let me share. I made a slide deck because I have a Virgo rising. If you guys are into astrology, Virgos like a lot of order and they like to know where they're going. No surprises, right? So Virgo rising and me, we're going to move through a mindful moment. And before I even tell you where you're going, I want you to just acknowledge like what's coming up for you. Like, okay, what is she going to ask me to do? Is she going to ask me to sit and pause and breathe? And like, what, are we going to have to do yoga? I heard the word yoga. We're going to be doing yoga. We're going to be dancing. Like, just notice how your mind starts to spin and can go down all these different avenues. So we'll do a mindful moment. And mindfulness to me, and this is how I share with my clients and my students, is very simple. It's paying attention on purpose without judgment. Paying attention on purpose without judgment. And we practice mindfulness through each and every present moment. Now, the hard part, the roadblock, is that we're not always present. Right? It's very, very difficult to be grounded, to be centered, to be present. When people say, just be present, you're like, oh my gosh, but I have a gazillion things going on. I get it. I totally get it. So what does the relationship of physical, emotional, relational and mental wellness all have to do? They all form this dance together. It's like Samir was saying, one of his favorite forms of exercise is dance, right? So it's like they all co-create together, and we get to use our bodies to change our minds. So that doesn't mean that you have to break out and do like a salsa move dance and be like, oh, I'm good. Like my mental health is great. It's using the intelligence of your body to listen to your body, to listen to sensations, and to notice how you are responding before you react. Have you ever heard of that? There's a quote. I don't even know the specific person who says it. Maybe it was just my mom. She's always told me, she's like, respond to yourself before you react to others. So how do you respond to yourself before you send an email that feels very context heavy or very brash? Or how do you listen intelligently to your heart before you make a choice that you may regret later? So we're going to move through all that in our experience. Take this opportunity, that was a lot of information, and just pause. And if there's something coming up for you, you can feel free to type it into the chat. Or if you like to journal, I always think a pen to paper journaling, it always helps me kind of get things out. You are more than welcome to take notes throughout our experience. So let me check the chat and see if there's anything coming up. We'll go back to that. All right, I think we're good. So one of my, I'm a quote person, you guys. I love quotes. So one of my favorite quotes is from Muhammad Ali. He says, often it isn't the mountains ahead that wear you out. It is the pebble in your shoe. And to me, this means that life is always going to toss us things, always going to toss us situations, always going to throw curveballs. And those things we cannot control, unfortunately. But the things we can control are noticing the pebbles in our shoe, noticing our thoughts, noticing our emotions, noticing when we've been sitting too long that we might just need to take a good stretch or a good walk or do something to release some of the energy in our body. So the pebble in the shoe is nothing external, it's all internal. So feel free to take a picture of this quote if you are a quote lover like I am. So introducing to you a little bit of methodology that I like to use with some of my group coaching containers. And it's called the PAL method. Also, this portrays to the Virgo energy in me. I like a good acronym because it helps me remember. And the purpose is for you to remember this. Remember this method the next time you're feeling overwhelmed, or the next time you're feeling anxious, or the next time you're even feeling like that shutdown, where you're in that freeze state. We're like, I don't know what to do next. I have so much going on. So this is called the PAL method. And it represents, P means pause, like literally whatever is going on, just tell your body to pause. Pause, pause, pause. Notice in your body how the action of going from lots of activity to pausing and coming down and in can be so nourishing. So pause, just notice, pause. Okay, the A stands for acknowledge. Acknowledge how you're feeling. You could do that simple 1 to 10 scale that I shared with you earlier, or you could put more words to it. I am feeling tired. I am feeling agitated. I am feeling angry. And it's important that you use I am feeling versus I am agitated. I am angry. No, don't do that. I am feeling agitated. I am feeling angry, or I'm feeling a 10. I'm feeling a 2. So just acknowledge how you're feeling. And L really stands for lead. How can you lead yourself to a desired outcome? If you are in that space where you are feeling a little stuck, a little frozen, you're like, I don't know what to do next. What is just one thing that you can do to get out of your own way? And maybe it's picking up your phone and texting someone like, hey, just when you give, what you give, you receive. So if you want to give energy, you will receive energy. So what is one small action that you can lead yourself into feeling and moving? And Naveed said it best. He said, I took a note, that your superpower energy, because no one's going to put the gas, or no one's going to really put the gas in your tank. You have to be the one to put the pedal to the metal and start moving. And maybe the moving is slowing down. We can speed up, we can slow down, and it's all in this beautiful dance that we get to be the leaders of. So that is the PAL method. Feel free to take a screenshot of this, or I'm sure I can send it to Ellie and she could share it in the recap. All right. Any questions on that before we breathe together? I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see all your faces. Any questions? Okay. We get to use our bodies to change our minds. Yes. I used to work in a corporate job a long time ago, and one of the CEOs, actually, he had this big poster in his office that said, you must touch the mind, or you must touch the heart to move the mind. And it was like this big poster, and it resonated with me so much. And at that time I was like, oh, that's cute. But now I'm like, it really makes sense. You literally must touch your heart, like get into the body to move the mind. We can hear all this talk of mindfulness and mental health and give yourself a pep talk and write yourself an affirmation. But unless you don't really feel it, and unless you don't really believe it, there's no shift that's going to happen. So thank you, Ellie, for typing that into the chat. So what we're going to do is we're going to breathe together a little bit, but it's going to be more of an activating breath to stoke our fire, to stoke our inner furnace, to get ourselves out of that sluggish kind of freeze. Not that I'm not saying that we are all that right now, but that is what can happen when we're feeling unmotivated. We're going to stoke our fires, and then we're going to calm. So it's going to be on purpose. It's going to be up and down. And how this is going to happen is you're going to place one hand on your belly and the other hand on your heart. And I'm going to guide you through it the whole way. But the inhale is going to be through the nose, and the exhale is just going to be a passive release. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. And if you want to go a notch up, This is only if you can do the inhale through the mouth to bring in more oxygen. So it's like you're taking a sip out of a straw in my cup here. So it's like, so we'll do that for about 4 minutes, and then we'll come down to just calm and get down into our parasympathetic nervous system. If you're pregnant, please don't do any open mouth breathing, but otherwise you are safe to breathe like through the straw or through the nose. It's totally up to you. And you may find that when you breathe through the straw-like action, you may get some buzzing or some tingling in your fingertips or even your toe tips. That's totally normal. Everything will come back to normal, but the purpose is to just like stoke the fire and then bring ourselves down. So while I get the music ready, yes, there's going to be music. Please write into the chat if you have any questions that I can answer before we begin. No questions. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear the music. Okay, beautiful. Thank you. When Ellie asked earlier, give us a thumbs up, I like did the old school. I was like, thumbs up, and I forgot that there is like a thumbs up emoticon. So here we are. Okay. Before we get going, before we get stoking the fire, just rub your palms together. And then I think it was, I forget who said it, maybe Samir. Let's take a big open arm stretch. Create some space in the chest and the body. And then lay one hand on your heart, the other on your belly. Close down your eyes if that feels safe and comfortable for you. And before we begin, just acknowledge where you're at today. You all dropped in a number into the chat box. And our goal for our time together is just to move that number up, even if it's just 1. And we do this through mindfulness, through observation, and through self-connection. Take a slow inhale through your nose and relax your shoulders as you exhale. A couple more nice and easy like that. Breathe in, fill up. And breathe out. One more, breathe in. And breathe out. Visualize yourself moving through whatever you need to move through, what is alive in your heart today that you can really let go, surrender into, and give yourself over with. Whenever you're ready, take a deep inhale through your nose or your mouth, you choose. And passive exhale. Again, one after the next. In, out. So think like a circle, one after the next. Try not to overcomplicate it. The first few moments may feel awkward. Let it feel awkward. But as you stay centered in your body, close down your eyes, just keep breathing like you're turning up a dial. Every inhale gets a little bigger. Every exhale drops you down and in. Everyone's cadence is going to be different, so I'm not going to cue it. but visualize circles and big breaths. If you can go a little deeper, not faster, all about depth, not about speed. And you might feel your body want to move a little bit. Let your body move how it wants to move, but just bring in as much oxygen as you can, either through the nose or through the mouth. Music's going up on purpose. Just one more minute of this activated breath. See yourself on the other side. See yourself in full liberation. Keep going. See yourself as your highest self, the connected self, the curious self, the non-judgmental self. Last two. Last one. And empty, empty, empty. Now take a slow breath in through your nose or mouth. And when you get all the way to the top, seal your lips to shut. Keep your hand on your heart. Keep your lips sealed. Keep holding the breath. But give your body the signal that it's safe by swallowing, but you're still holding the breath. And as you hold your breath and hold your heart, feel the energy moving within you, knowing that you have the freedom to choose each and every day. And when you're ready, exhale.
It's strange how some printed words
Inhale through your
can evoke
nose
emotion.
and exhale, relax. Two more like that. Inhale and exhale. One more. Breathe in. And breathe out. As you breathe in this time, bring it all the way in and up. And visualize an elevator. We're going to go all the way down on the exhale, but we're going to go really slowly and we're going to hold the exhale out. So here we go. Slowly start the descend down. Let go. Let go. Let go. And when you can't push any more out, seal your lips to shut. Keep your body relaxed. Swallow. And hold the breath out. We're not here for long. Just hold and empty. As you hold your heart, notice what is moving through you. And when you're ready, take an inhale. And take an exhale. And bring your palms down on your lap, but keep your eyes closed, shoulders relaxed. And this last song is just an integration song. This is your chance, your opportunity to discover and uncover anything that may have popped to the surface today for you. When something pops to the surface for you, that means you are ready to witness it and to express it. So as you land in your body, land in your knowing, if you want to take intuitive shoulder rolls or neck circles or stretches, by all means, move in a way that feels good for you. And if it's helpful to just say to yourself, I am inhaling, I am exhaling, to keep yourself in the present moment, do that. And we'll be here just for the next 2 minutes. Start to deepen the breath and bring your shoulders with your next inhale. So create some tension, shrug your shoulders towards your ears, and then make a little noise. Ha, exhale, ha. 2 more like that. Inhale. Ha. 1 more in. Take your hands over your heart and start to brush off your heart, like literally, like you're brushing off the residue. You can open your eyes slowly, brush out those distractions. And then I invite you to take your pen to your paper and write down for 60 seconds what moved through you, or how you're desiring to shift your energy today. Sometimes all it takes is 3 minutes of breathing and connection to come back home. So take the next 60 seconds to write, or just reflect in the territory of your own heart. And then when you feel ready, you can just come back to the room. If there's something that moved through you, you're welcome to drop it into the chat for us to witness. I always say when something comes up for someone, it probably came up for someone else too. And what we really did is we established safety in our body. So in order to make big changes out there, in order to make big decisions out there, in order to be in relationship out there, it's really important that we find and we feel that safety within. We know that we can hold our breath and we can feel our heart and everything's going to be okay. And we use the power of the breath to drop back in, to be present, to be mindful, to pay attention without any judgment. So as we wrap up today, my wish, my offering, my intention for each and every one of you, no matter where you are in your mindset, is to pay attention to the body. Pay attention when you get that gut feeling. Pay attention when your heart gets lit up by something. Pay attention when you get a buzzing in your pinky, right? Pay attention to all the signs of the body and use the pillars of physical, emotional, relational, and mental wellness to keep your wheel in this beautiful, beautiful dance. And I'm so grateful and thankful to share space with each and every one of you today. If you have any specific questions on what we did, that was like a little appetizer of breathwork. If you go down a whole breathwork journey with me, it's about 40 minutes of deep breathing like that. So that's a little teaser today. So thank you so much, Ellie and Lizzie and team, for having me.
Thank you so much, Katy. Really grateful for your time and your insights today. And I hope that everyone found something they needed in this brief break from our day-to-day. I know that in running companies and building something much bigger than ourselves, it can be hard to find this space. But we know that finding space for yourself to be in your body and to check in with all those elements of self is really important to endure for the long haul in this sprint, what we treat as a sprint, which is actually a marathon. So Katy, thanks for giving us another tool in our tool belt. If people would like to follow up with you, what's the best way to reach out and learn more about your work or ask follow-up questions?
Oh, thank you. I'd probably say Instagram right now, or email. So Instagram is sprinkles of Katy. I do many things. So I was like, I can't be Katy yoga, Katy meditation. There's lots of things. So sprinkles of Katy. And my website is sprinklecheer.com, which is the community that I started at the beginning of the pandemic. So it's sprinklecheer.com. And there's my email on there as well as Instagram. So thank you, Ellie, so much. And thank you, Lizzie.
Amazing. Well, we will be sending a follow-up note to everyone who is here. And also there were a few dozen other people who were hoping to make it today, but timing wise didn't make it to our event. So we'll be sending up a follow-up note to all of the founders and investors in our network who expressed an interest in this topic. We'd love to hear from all of you who were here and made the space to join us today. If there are questions that you have, observations, or other things that you'd like to see emerge in the startup ecosystem as it relates to mental wellness, I think this is an important conversation. While it's not the only thing that we do at Further Faster, it's certainly an important part as we think about how we can help founders achieve their goals. So to whatever extent we can be a point of connection, a resource, or collaborate with others in the ecosystem to create space, not only for the conversation, but the active doing of caring for ourselves, we're eager to play that role. So I also want to give a shout out to my colleague, Lizzie, who many of you heard from via email with the reminders for today's event. None of this would have been possible without Lizzie's time and attention. So thank you, Katy, thank you, Lizzie, and thank you to all of you for investing a little bit of time in your own mental well-being today. We're here to support you on the journey and excited to see what continues to emerge in the space. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Bye, everyone. Bye, Mike. Bye, Samir. Thank you both so much.